This next video shows how to use the BOOLEAN feature in 3ds Max 9. I'll narrate it step by step with the video I just made earlier. Now I'll try to keep the video and the audio in the best timing as I can. The video was pre-recorded earlier. So first of all, I start off with a box. Very simple. Scale out. I'm going to click on the move icon and then go over to clone and have it preset for copy and clone the next size. Scale it down a bit. As you can see, it's very simple. Then I go down to my main screens and I check the alignment of my main screens so I can see different views. Top, front, left, overhead, those views. It's very easy. And the reason I'm scaling this down is because this second block that I cloned will be, it'll go down as the bottom base and it'll fit in very nicely, and that will be the inside of my frame when I go to BOOLEAN. And BOOLEAN is a very simple procedure. I basically click on the selections. I go on to my objects, compound objects, and just like that, it's done. Click it out. I pick it from, have one selected and pick the B selection to delete the other one that I don't want. I'll be doing this a couple of times and I'll explain the procedure. This next one will be set up for the framing for the windows. Now notice how this block is longer than the other block for the structure. I will have to tweak it up a bit. When I'm doing these models, I do a lot more finer detail than this. This just shows a basic structure. So you'll see how it works really quickly. First I line it up. As long as it's lined up really good, it doesn't take much, and I can line it up to exactly where I need it. It's right width and everything. Hopefully I don't have to tweak it too much. Sometimes I do get a little bit fussy. Now this looks pretty good so far. I'm going to go to compound objects. I'm going to click BOOLEAN, pick the B object out of the other one, and just like that, boom, I got two windows on either side. That easy. Doesn't take much. The next parameter will be also a box. Very simple. I'll pull it in off to the side. It'll be quick. And it doesn't have to be that thick. It just has to be the depth and thickness that I want it to be. I can adjust it later, as you'll see in this video. I'll adjust a part of the thickness because this is one of the ones that's going to go in for my window frame. And I'll move it over. Real quick. Before I do that, I've got a preset texture of glass that I made earlier. So I'm going to apply that now. Now I want to move it over. That's why I've got the other view so I can see what I'm doing. I can line it up, lock it in place. It looks good so far, almost. It just needs to be adjusted a little bit more. It's almost in place where it needs to be. But before I move it over or do anything, I'm going to zoom in on these different views and pre-adjust them so to make sure I've got everything lined up exactly where I want it to be. That's where the hand icon comes in on the corner. You can pre-adjust those. Clicking that back, just adjusting it so I can see it really good. So when I pre-adjust this, when I want to get the exact detail that I need, with the exact detail that I'm going to need for this, if I was doing a detailed building, I would be going into way more detail than this. It doesn't take much. And you can get it so precise. And the colors and the depth and dimension you can get in these models sets and models, basically. You can make anything from swords to whatever you want, whatever your heart's desire. You can make tanks that float in the air, hover tanks, anything you want to make. Any shapes, anything. You can shape anything. And okay, so that window's pretty much adjusted. Well, I'm being a little finicky with it. That's just me. Now I'm going to clone it. And then just pull it right on over as fast as I can to the other side. Try to line it up without taking forever. Yeah, that seems about right. Just pretty much. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, that's about where it needs to be. It's not coming out of the wall too much. Looks good. So far, so good. Alright. So now, this next step will be to apply some color to the building structure. And as you can see, I've got a pre-made color, already pre-made, done, ready to go. This one's called polished concrete. Now, my next step in this process is very simple. The next thing, I'll just highlight everything because I'm going to want to reclone the whole structure that I'm working on right now. I'll adjust that structure above that other one. Preset my screens. After I preset my screens, I can adjust that just to where I want. I could, if I adjusted it a little finer, you wouldn't see that seam line. If I put it just a smidge lower, you would not see that seam line. But it's just for the sake of the demo. It really doesn't really matter that much. As long as you can see this, see it as it's happening in real time, step by step. Okay, so where are we at on this video here? We're in the lower main screen. Now, I'm going to take that. I'm going to scale this a bit so I can get it to roughly close to the size I want, so it's a comfortable thickness. I'll eventually add my door, which will be the same Boolean texture that I just did a while ago. And that's not too hard to do. All I have to do is take a box, and with the box I can prefabricate and make the door that I'm trying to make. It doesn't take much, and with Boolean it's very simple. All you have to do is readjust the shape and size, and it's very simple and very easy. I pull it into the structure that I'm working on, and just like that, it's almost done. I'll readjust the size just a bit, just a tiny bit more. Just tweak it up or make it a little bit better, a little more perfect. Yeah, we're almost done with this video. I'm making this one as short as possible because I was testing out the feature of this on-screen recording. It's basically, it's called screen capture. I'm just trying to see what it looks like because I can do short narrations. You can do short narrations of this at anything. Video games, you name it, whatever your program you're running. This is the way to go. And I kind of like this feature. Editing this software is a little bit finicky, but it does work. But anyhow, getting back to the project that I'm working on. Now here I made a couple mistakes, and I had to go back and undo the selection a couple of times. So I had the my scale to exactly where I needed it to be. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. Now I can just scale it, just tweak it up that little bit more. Well, as soon as the video catches up with me, it's a little bit. Yeah, there you go. This narration had to be put in after the video was made, so if it seems like I'm taking my time with continuing from compound objects, this is the setup of the door next. Here goes. There you go, just like that. Picked it up. Pick object B, and there you have it. There's a door. Now I'm going to take this and move it up just a bit, not too much. And I'm going to pick a new object box, and I won't make it that big, just go from the corner edge and make it that, just like that. Now I'm going to go into my paint. I'm going to select this one object. I have to click that off, just select the one object, put it on for paint. That's a pre-made bitmap that I made earlier, some time ago, and the texture goes under the bottom for the building. Now I'm going to scale it up. Now what that texture map is, you can't see it right now, but when I go to render it later, you'll see that it is framing of grass. So what I did was in my computer folders to get this texture is for bitmap. When you add bitmaps to anything, you just go outside with a decent camera, one that has good, good memory card, good memory. And then, like, I took a picture of the ground or the grass after the grass was cut, and I took a couple pictures, picked the best one that I want for this video. Click it on the bitmap, which is the ground underneath my framing. Now I'm just adjusting the building so that it sits on top. So when I scale this to the size I want it, it will be in the proportion that I need without. And you always want to slap the picture down first before you scale it. Don't rotate it or don't do nothing with it. Always put your bitmap on first if it's a pictured item. And then after you have it set up to where you want it, then you can rotate it and do everything you want. Now I made a mistake with this one, so I have to go back and undo the rotate. I gotta scale everything up so I can scale the whole picture so I can see what I'm doing. So it's lined up in the proportions I want it. And now it's pretty much where I need it to be. I'm going to scale the bottom part of it. It looks like it's getting warped, but it's because it's on such a different angle. It just has to be a little bit fussy with it until you get it just to where you want it to be. Now that looks about almost right. It shouldn't take too much longer for me to just preset this up. I'm going to go into, I'm going to actually get my foliage, or well, they call it foliage, trees basically. Pop some in for my background. I know it looks like the image is getting distorted, but once it's scaled down and done, you won't really notice it. Plus, if you, this is just for just to make the background, look like part of the scene, just to show you what the effects that you can do in this program. I mean, there's a lot more I could do, but I'm not going to get into the ridiculous details of it. I'm just going to get into the this is what I call the basics. I've been doing this for quite some time, so I kind of know this stuff. It's pretty easy. So yeah. Now here, I believe I made a bit of a mistake here, which I'll have to correct in a few seconds. And I'm lining this up, these trees, and I got part of the base of the floor model. So I have to come in, I clicked the wrong one. Now I have to click it again, just to delete the one I don't need, because I'll have one overlap in the other. So I have to delete that. Now I'll have to adjust these trees a bit to the point where they're just where I need them, just for the effect that I'm looking for. Now these models can be a lot more detailed if you want them to be. You can put anything from buildings to props to swords to flying hover tanks, anything you want. You can make medieval villages, anything you want to do. It's always up to the imagination of the person that's doing this. I'm going to clone these again just to add that last little bit of the effect. and I didn't quite line them up quite well, so I'm just tweaking the last details. Then I'll render it soon, and you'll see the finished product. Fortunately, I got 3 clumps of trees. I didn't mean to do that, but you know, whatever. Once you've got these things lined up in a row, you can make a whole forest. You can do anything you want. You can put backgrounds, whatever a person wants in these programs. You can also use a what was it? You can also use different bases of backgrounds that work with this. Oh, we're almost done now. This part here, I kind of messed it up, so I kind of tried to rotate the whole scene in one clumped area, so I had to go to undo. So this is something that you should know when you're doing this. This isn't what they call an amateur mistake. Like when everything's highlighted, you can highlight it, or you can connect all your objects at once. But if you try to rotate it and your timing's just off, especially with a mouse, it can ruin it. Now, that's a little bit more like the way I want it to be. This video's almost done. I'm going to be rendering it in a moment to show how it looks. So before I render it, I go to environment. The environment black, but to offset the color, to blend in with the trees, I'm going to put it like a nice blue color instead of the dark black, so it doesn't look like it's floating in space. And it'll render over top of a previously recorded one. It doesn't take much time for this to edit over. And there you have it. How about that, eh? And you can use that for a JPEG, photo, anything you want in any videos. Add as much detail as you want. That's a Boolean feature. So now you know how the Boolean cuts other objects out of other objects to shape other objects into different things. There's other ones I can show. You can do it with circles, squares, other shapes, and you can make your own pre-custom shapes this way, just by using Boolean. And I'd like to say thank you very much, or I should say thanks for watching. I hope my audio on this is actually going to be clear, and thanks again for watching.